Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to It's Tuesday Night with Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Topics and Tidbits Live. So we're glad to be back with you, or welcome in if it's your first time watching us, talking about all of the latest news and fun from Disney and Universal. So I'm Catherine Ritchie. Jennifer McCormick. She is busily sharing out our link
I
from all
am.
of our pages. So we have lots of people hopefully joining us tonight and watching. So it has been, we were talking, I don't know about all of you out there. It has been a crazy week. It's only Tuesday. Is that like a Halloween week thing? Or, I mean, it was a full moon last week, but goodness. So if you're joining us, please let us know. The chat is right there. So let us know where you're watching from or if you have any questions or things we can answer. We've also been talking about Halloween in our pages. We both were saying it kind of creeped up. I'm waiting on 2 costumes to arrive for my children. So if that's, but if you know me, that's not totally unusual. But
Right.
yeah, but if you have any Disney or Universal Halloween themed things happening, we'd love to hear about those.
Yeah, we don't really have a whole lot planned in my house right now for Halloween. We purchased our first bag of candy from Costco, which I think can give you an idea of how big that bag was. And I say was past tense because I opened it and put it in the bin and it's gone. It's gone. So So now we picked up some more candy and we're not opening the bag and putting it in the bin until
Right.
Halloween. But one of my kiddos is going to, a Halloween gathering on Saturday, but otherwise,
Mhm.
normally we like to have family costumes and have something planned. And this year it
Right.
just really snuck up on us. Feels like a totally different year.
October has been a blur. I mean, I saw someone today and they said, "Oh, you were at Disney for the 50th." And I said, it was only a few weeks ago and it feels
Right.
like eons ago. So I'm sure all of you out there are experiencing the same, where you're feeling like things are just flying by. So if you're new here and you aren't already subscribed to our page, greatly appreciate you doing that. Hitting that thumbs up to let us know that you are liking what you're seeing, as well as hitting that bell icon so you're notified anytime we go live. So, and know that if you aren't watching this live, it is here and ready, as are all of our videos, for you to check out as you start planning that Disney or Universal escape.
Yeah. And today is our last Tuesday chat in October. And so we'll be announcing our October giveaway number. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, for anyone who is commenting in the live streams, in the chat, the live streams on YouTube or in our Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Facebook group, we're keeping track of all of those folks. So we have a list of all of the names and not just commenting, but posting and just interacting in general. So the list of all the names, we used a random number generator to pick the number of the individuals. So we've got the name pulled already and we'll announce it near the end of the hour.
Right. So exciting. We like doing
Right.
giveaways like this. So,
It's fun.
yes. And a giveaway where you kind of have a choice of things. That's even better.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, figure Disney, Amazon, iTunes, easy, something for everyone in that group. So we'll
Absolutely.
see. Can't wait. Of course, I know
Yeah.
already. I know the name, I don't know the person. So
Right,
we'll see.
right. So that'll be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time last week talking about Disney Genie and Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes because they had officially come online last Tuesday. So we kind of have a week under our belt. If you have questions about that, we definitely invite you to check out our video from last week. We did spend a lot of time really breaking it down and explaining it. But we both have heard really positive comments over the past week. Again, it's only a weekend, so people
Right.
are still learning as well. But if you have a Disney trip coming up and you have not downloaded or updated your My Disney Experience app, you want to do that so that you can take advantage of all the features that are there. And it looks pretty different. So if you're looking at it saying, did it update? You would know if it did.
Right.
But yeah, so what are you hearing, Jennifer,
Well,
about?
the first things that I feel like I've been hearing pretty consistently is that for folks who want to purchase an individual lightning lane, specifically for Rise of the Resistance, they need to do that right away. And so that's been filling right around park open. So guests who are staying on Disney World property really do have the advantage there, because if you're staying on Disney World property, you can purchase an individual lightning lane at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then if you're not, you purchase it after park open. So the folks who are staying on property have more of an opportunity to pick the time that they're looking for. And then it sounds like a little bit has been available. A few of them have been available at park open, but that it's been filling every day fairly early in that day. So that sounds like, a prime individual lightning lane. And that makes sense to me,
Right.
because so many people had tried to get in with a virtual queue and just were not successful with that, which breaks my heart, because because we've had great luck with the virtual queue when they had it. Virtual queue
Right.
doesn't exist anymore
Right.
for Rise of the Resistance. And then I think the other thing with that too is that it's a ride that goes down fairly often. And so of
Yeah.
course the folks that are priority are the ones who purchase the lightning lanes.
Mhm.
And so the standby queue can get pretty excessive for that attraction. Not always, though. Sometimes, I've been looking and I've seen it posted, at 60 to 70 minutes from time to time, which is not bad.
It's not. And that is one that is worth it. We're a family that we do, who loves lines, but those really long lines, that is even with teens. I think they were complaining more this time than that's teenagers, right? Instant gratification. But if
Right.
you see it at 60 or 70, honestly, that's not a bad wait. And it's a really narrow queue is the best way to describe it. So you are moving. You're moving continuously, but it is worth the wait. So I will say about that one. But that's the great thing about the lightning lanes is if there is something or that option to say, that is the one thing we came for. We don't know when we're coming back. My child wants to ride it. So that is available. But also, again, if you're choosing not to purchase Genie Plus, if you're not, doing those one-offs, you can still wait in line. That's not available. But there are those options if you decide to do that. And again, like you said, that's a perk of staying on property as well, that you're going to have access to that before everyone else too.
Yeah. And then I guess, with Genie Plus, what I've been hearing is that people have really been loving it in Magic Kingdom. And I'm not surprised, because Magic Kingdom is the park with the most attractions.
Mhm.
And so it's tough, especially if you're unfamiliar with the park. It's tough to sometimes decide, how to navigate it and where you want to go. So between Genie Plus and then the Genie tip board,
Mhm.
it's really helped folks navigate the park. And a lot of the people who are commenting right now, both in our Mickey Travels travel agent group, on our Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears page, and then on, other Disney boards, are people who, know Disney pretty well. And, I think for those folks to say this is incredibly helpful, I think it's really valuable, for these specific parks. I mean, that speaks volumes to people who have been used to getting, fast passes for free,
Right. Mhm.
so, so if there are regulars who think that this is really valuable, I think that's nice to see too. And then it seems hit or miss for Animal Kingdom and Epcot, depending on what you want to do in those parks.
Right.
So I guess I'm not surprised to see. Oh, but really helpful in Hollywood Studios too, if you're looking to do a lot in Hollywood Studios.
Yes. Yeah, it probably does go back to what you're hoping to enjoy. So you can get that added. We can add that on if you're one of our clients, or you're working with a travel planner, that can be wrapped right into your package and you don't have to think about it. But you also have the option, if you decide you want to do a date at a time too, that is an option. You would do that each morning. So again, if you want one less thing to worry about, you can just go ahead and get it for the duration and you have access to it. You don't have to worry about it, which is nice.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been talking to a whole bunch of clients lately who I think feel overwhelmed by this. And, I'm hoping that once they have the chance to actually play with it, they're going to see that it's a whole lot easier than having had to having, a plan 2 months in advance and 6 months in advance for your dining, like in before times. And that you could be more on the fly, because I think for those of us who have gone to the parks a lot, are used to going to the parks, we know very well from personal experience that the best laid plans sometimes totally implode and you realize that your kid loves something completely different. You could have a whole bunch of plans for, princess like activities. And then your princess gets to the park and she's like, all I want to do is go on the carousel over and over and over again. I don't care, or I'm afraid of these characters that are walking past.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or you go on a ride and that's all they want to go on. I mean,
Right.
again, we can advise you, but as we all know, your child has a mind of their
Oh
own,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Disney is no exception to that as well. But
Yeah.
we both follow a lot of bloggers and people are in the parks a lot, and a lot of them have gone in, not using it or following exactly what is telling them. And it's really seems to be working. They really are taking advantage of it. So again, even that piece of it, again, with the goal of really moving people through the parks, limiting your wait times, making it more strategic. That's the whole point of, the Genie service, just to make your trip, to enhance your trip really. And that is part of a Disney vacation package, which is wonderful. So hopefully that will continue to be the case too.
I know. I think it's one of those things where, again, I can't wait to just play with it and go to the
Mhm.
parks and follow the tip board. And, that
Right.
might be hard for me because I might have
I
an idea of
know.
what I want to do. But so far, just looking at it throughout the day, it looks like it's working and working well. I mean, pointing you in the direction of the next best attraction near where you are, coming up with suggestions based on what you say you're interested in. So, and then you can say, no, we just need to sit down, take a break. I'm going to Mickey's PhilharMagic, and then I'm going to go to Mickey's PhilharMagic again.
Yeah. Well, and I
Sit
think we
in the air
brought it up
conditioning.
last week. You brought it up, and I think it's another good point too, that there are restaurants that will pop up with availability as well. And these are sit down. And so again, that would have in before time, even before this, you really had to manually look for that. And so the fact that that's again, it's the ease and helping you see what's available and combine mobile ordering with all of that again, and it can feel overwhelming. Absolutely. I mean, I think we've both spent a lot of time advising clients lately who are like, oh my gosh, I was already okay with the app and now I have to do this. But it takes a little finesse, but it is pretty user friendly, I would say, which is pretty amazing considering how many people are using it. So you can play with it. I mean, you can go on tonight and see what wait times are
Mhm.
at places or during the day. You don't have to be in the parks to do that. So playing with it ahead of time we always would tell people to do that regardless, but this is a nice way to do that too. Just because
Yeah, and I do have to say that again, in before time, so before the park closure, before COVID, there were plenty of times. I mean, my normal, um, have a great trip, send off email and conversations I would have would be around the fact that, the app, was excessively glitchy. It was really important to screenshot everything. And I mean, not to say that glitches don't or won't happen, but
right.
it's just not happening now like it was before. I mean, and there were days where it was especially challenging
Mm,
before, and now I feel like things have been really smooth. And so there's been a lot of, work behind the scenes on all of this IT to make it work really smoothly. So I think that's much
absolutely.
less of a concern
Right.
um, than, it was a couple of years ago. So
You're
so
so right.
progress is happening.
Yeah.
Progress is happening.
And our pro tip, of course, you're going to be using your phone a lot in the parks, regardless of using Disney Genie or anything like that. You want to make sure you're bringing those extra batteries as well, even if you think your phone will hold up. If you are on it, it takes a little more life out of your battery. So our Amazon store is a great resource that's linked below as well. But to check out what we encourage you, I always travel with an extra battery.
Oh gosh,
Sometimes
every
too.
time. Mhm.
That is, I mean, and that's me in my regular life anyway. But yes, we had quite a few on our last trip just because I knew between pictures and videos, and we're obviously gathering extra content, but just using all of that. So make sure that you have that and your devices are fully charged before you head out for your park day.
Yeah. And one thing with Disney Genie is the rollout of the new disability access service. And it does sound like really early on in the process. Tuesday last week, there were, quite a few glitches with
Mhm.
it. And so but it also sounds like there have been some quick pivots to make
Mhm.
it work better. So folks who are in the park and using the disability access service, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sounds like experience some challenges, but that
Mhm.
things have been improving. And so hopefully they'll continue to improve. One thing that, well, I feel like the jury is still out on is the fact that with Genie Plus, folks are supposed to be able to now register in advance. And so I think it's November 1st or 2nd if your trip starts
For
November
disability
1st
access, you
for the
mean?
disability access. I'm sorry.
Yes.
For the disability access service,
Mhm.
folks are supposed to be able to register in advance for that. But the wait time seem to be really excessive. It's basically a Zoom call. It's a video
Right. Right.
conference call. And I mean, I've been hearing stories of folks who've been in the wait queue for easily 4 to 6 hours.
Yes. So
So
that's, yes. And we're hearing, was it December 1st is when that hopefully would change. So know that if you're reading about that and you'd like to take advantage, you can wait and sign up in the parks. The whole idea of this is that you will have it taken care of before you get there. So again, that has definitely been glitchier, I guess is the word I want to say, but really bogged down. But again, it's just the number of people and trying to process all of that. So that should get better. It's just going to take a little time. So
yeah,
unfortunately, that's kind of a major hiccup with it right now.
right. So I mean, we'll see where that goes. Hopefully in the next few weeks, that'll be streamlined because everyone who's working with it is new. I
Right.
mean, like new to the process
The
and
brand new thing, the way they've
right.
never operated like this before.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I guess we'll see what that looks like. But
Mhm.
yeah, I really hope that that gets cleaned up because it would be really nice for families who already, are struggling with waiting in line for whatever reason to not have to wait in line first thing at guest services when they arrive at
Right.
the parks. And that's just, I think about family members who cognitively don't even understand, why are we waiting in line? What does this mean? And everyone has to be present in that process when you're physically waiting in line in the parks. And so as much as
Mhm.
possible to be able to do it from home and have that all set up for the disability access service, that will be ideal. Hopefully they
Absolutely.
can get that process going a little bit more smoothly though in the near
Mhm.
future.
Yeah, and we're fortunate. We are both Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travel agents. So we get the breadth of knowledge from our fellow agents who are in the parks and sharing what's happening too. So we've had some firsthand experience about that. And so we're always reading up and learning too, but that's a wonderful resource. So you get us, but you get us times quite a few, which is a
Right.
nice bonus
Times
as well.
like 200 and
Yeah. A lot of wisdom and advice, and there's always someone in the park, which is great. So we're just constantly getting that feedback. So I don't even know my countdown. That's how crazy my life has been. So I go on the November 11th.
oh my gosh, that's really soon.
I know.
That's wait. When do I leave? The third at night. I guess I
You
fly
leave
out
the
on the
week
third.
before. That's you leave
Yeah.
next week. That's
I know. A week from tomorrow, we fly out, late after work and hop on a cruise on the 4th on Thursday. So,
exciting. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, should we chat about Disney Cruise Line then?
Yeah, why don't we? Why don't we chat a little bit about Disney
You have a
Cruise
very
Line?
soon, countdown as
Yeah.
well. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, the more, and I've got a bunch of clients who are traveling in the not so distant future and looking at, what's happening with cruise line. And I'm really excited to have some firsthand experience. I just want to see how everything is really working because we're reading a lot, we're hearing a lot. The cruise that I'm on, so I'll be on the Disney Magic, and it was supposed to be a completely different type of sailing. And so I'll be, I think, on the second or third sailing after it returns to the
Mm,
US. Well, it's back in the US now.
right.
But yeah, and so we'll see, what that looks like with, potentially some of the limitations. What does masking really feel like on the cruise? I mean, you don't have to if you are on deck, obviously when you're eating, but if you're in any area, within the ship, you'll have to wear a mask. I feel like I do that all the time anyhow,
Right.
with work and other places where we go. And so that doesn't feel foreign to
Right.
me, but I mean, I haven't done it on a cruise. So
Well, and I'll be interested to hear your perspective. So for those of you who are newer watching us, Jennifer's been on a lot of Disney cruises. So in all different iterations, I would say too.
right.
So, because when was the last cruise you were on?
Well, unfortunately, it was the Dream in 2019. And I mean, we were supposed to be cruising again originally it was supposed to be spring break 20, and then we pushed
Right.
that back because we were supposed to be in Disneyland Paris, and then that just kept being
Right.
pushed. So
Yeah.
that sailing turned into spring break 22, but this is kind of a last minute
Yeah.
addition.
It is a bonus.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how things work a little bit differently for the shows, how it
Mhm.
actually works to be part of the activities on board, because I know there are some limitations to the number of people that they're allowing in the different onboard activities. So how soon do I have to show up if I want to do bingo or whatever? Yeah, I mean, there will be scheduled times for like debarkation at the ports. That's new. Normally you just kind of show up at a huge clump of people and you get off. And so,
Yeah.
so that's scheduled, and all of this, almost all of it is scheduled, on the Navigator app while you're actually on the ship. And so most of this isn't even going to be loaded until I'm physically on the ship, and can see what's on the Navigator there. So I'm hoping to have a lot to share. I'm
You
interested to see
will.
how, I don't know if I want to do the rainforest room, but that's something that is booked, and you actually book a specific time. And so I'm going to look into that right away when I get on the ship. Yeah. So I can't wait to share more about it.
I know. So exciting. And is this the first time without the kids?
Yeah.
Sorry, kids, if you're watching.
You know what? They're not so sorry though. They don't want to miss school.
I mean, it's not like they haven't been on. Yeah. So.
No. They have no shortage of trips. We just got back from, a long weekend in St. Louis doing something completely different. They had a great time. So these children are not at all hurting for a vacation. They've got things to look forward to. They're excited to get rid of their parents. So it's kind of a win-win for all of us. But yeah, I'm just really interested to see what it looks like, what's different.
I'm interested to see what it feels like in terms of how many people, because we know it is so reduced, but you'll really have that perspective from being on there before.
I know. And I have to say, I mean, the thing I'm most apprehensive about is testing at port.
I know, that's what makes me nervous. Like that, I would be, so for those who don't know, you do have to test. I mean, even if you are vaccinated, even if you've tested previously, everyone is being tested at the port before you are allowed to get on. So again, wonderful, another level of reassurance, but can be a little stressful too. Should you test negative? Should you test positive? So if you do test positive, there are options. You won't be sailing right then, but you can get rebooked, correct? Or
you can get rebooked. And from what I've heard, I mean, in the few times where, folks have tested positive, they've refunded, everything and made sure that they had, a ride to their next.
We're not hearing
location.
that much at all.
Not very much. Yeah. Very, very minimally. At the same time, and everyone 12 and over has to be vaccinated to sail right now. And so we're all vaccinated. I mean, it's an extra layer of comfort to me to know that everybody is also testing at port. Everyone's negative there. So I'm not concerned at all about being on the cruise. And I've been wearing a KN95 mask. Like, I'm not messing around. I'm not breathing on anyone.
I know. I'd be like, I know. Exactly. Well, and I think again, if anyone watching if you've been starting to go to concerts, or you went to Frozen, or I have Broadway back, touring shows or anything like that. I'm flying to Boston tomorrow to go to something with my mom. I mean, you are having to show your vaccination card. That's becoming very common, masking indoors. So I think that's going to become the way it is. And then the cruise is just that extra level of, we are testing you, everyone, for hopefully by next week, that'll change too. I mean, because the children not being able to be tested I mean, to be
Or
vaccinated.
vaccinated, right?
So Disney's doing everything they can to keep everyone safe. So that's, again, if you're wondering about that, that's another level of safety that they are trying to provide, which is great.
Right. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what it all looks like and how things are different, and yeah, and go from there and share those experiences. And I mean, so far, the just knowing what I have to do, when it has to be done, like there is a lot to keep tabs on. So I'm sending reminders, to my clients on, here's the whole list of what you need to do. And then a few days beforehand, here's another reminder on what you need to do, because it's different. It used to just be, obviously it was a little bit of an easier process. And then things have changed so much.
Yes.
So just even providing that vaccination information, it used to be, 33 days out, and they changed it to 15. And so, and then, they want you to print everything and have everything printed and available at port. So even though we have it electronically, I'm still going to print my QR codes and, all of the cruise information and have that available in printed form too.
Right.
Because the point is to limit the, exposure to folks in the port. I mean, the cast members who are working in addition to everyone else, just, for safety's sake.
Sure.
So, but it's different. It's all so different right now. So
it's
not hard. It's just, one more thing to keep tabs on.
I was going to say, it's just more stuff. I mean, and again, a cruise, for those who haven't cruised before or don't know that, I mean, there is no wiggle room with having that paperwork done and having all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, or however you say. You have to have it done or you're not getting on. I mean, that's just the way it is. So we're here to help you with that too. And again, with things, especially before, they were changing constantly, but it will continue to be that way as Disney evaluates and everything like that. But that's why using us is another bonus for you too. So
Well, I think some of the confusion too, with people who are coming upon their like check-in dates where they can book excursions. Disney Cruise Line doesn't normally do this, but they extended their payment dates, but you still have to be paid in full before you can book your excursions. So even though you can wait to pay in full for, most sailings through the end of March right now until 60 days before sailing, you have to be paid in full before you can book any of your excursions. And so for someone that's brand new to Disney Cruise Line, that's 75 days out. If you've gone on, 1 to 4 cruises, that's 90 days in advance, and, further for folks who've cruised more. And so you might be getting the reminders from Disney Cruise Line that, oh, well, your final payment date's been extended. But if you still want to have that priority to book excursions, you still need to be paid out,
great point,
further in advance. And so that's something I think that's been a hiccup for a lot of folks too. They've gotten to that date. I've seen it on different just social media. They've gotten to that date and didn't realize that they needed to have paid in advance before they could do this, this stuff. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then not a lot of other Disney Cruise Line news, except I think I shared it in the group. Was that today? Was it yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think it was today.
Again, it's been a day, so that's why. So some more news on what is happening once, sailings. I'm getting to my notes here. That's why I'm.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the Disney Cruise Line on the Wish, we're hearing more about what some of their special dining experiences are going to be. And we've gotten some additional information on what the Marvel experience will be, the Marvel dining experience. And boy, it sure looks like more of a show.
And we were laughing because we both had read it. And again, we did give the disclaimer that it's been like a week in the past 2 days, but we were reading it and I was like, oh my word, there is so much in this media release. And maybe Disney's listening to us. Sometimes we'll joke on Tuesdays. We're like, can you just slow down?
Right.
And they're like, we're just going to jam it all in one for you, ladies. So yeah, I mean, definitely not. I don't remember this being teased this way previously. Or did I don't.
Well, no, I mean, it seemed like the information was that it would be more interactive potentially, but I can't wrap my head around exactly what that's going to look like. So I'm excited that, we're booked on the Wish at the end of August
Right.
next year, just to get a feel for what that looks like. But I'm interested to see, for folks who are on earlier sailings, what are they saying? I mean, because the Wish sales right now, I think it's June, end of June. 22 is when the first sailing is scheduled. And I don't know. I just think about the dining experience and the cruises. And I mean, there's heavy theming,
Right.
but nothing that seems to be really like a full show.
Well, they talked about voiceovers. So I was like, is it going to
Right.
be between each course? They'll be announcing the courses with the voiceovers. I'm not really sure. And they said there's more to come. So I think they just really were truly teasing it. And I don't want to know more.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't visualize what this is going to be, but I'm like, if they're bringing in like Evangeline Lilly and Paul Rudd to do voice work, then it seems like it would be more than just the standard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an announcement. I don't know though.
Right. No, I would think so too. It would, right. Like that seemed too basic that they would have them do these amazing, and they really hyped that part of it. So yeah, so if you're a Marvel fan, the fact that this will be a really cool and unique experience is something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And again, if you are finding information in other places, I mean, every once in a while we'll find cast members who are involved in some of these things, who are, teasing things. Share it in our group. If you get to it before we do, go to the Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears group and share that information in there, because we want to see, what's going on. And you never know where you're going to find that information. I think Twitter, Instagram, is where some stuff will pop up sometimes from Imagineers. So we keep an eye on those things. But
right. It's true. So yeah, so that was the big Disney Cruise Line news of the week as well. So that and Jennifer's countdown. So
I was so excited.
I know. When will you start packing?
This weekend.
When would you normally start packing?
Normally I'd be way ahead of the game. I mean, I do have I've got my magnets packed, and because we travel all the time, we've got stuff that, our travel stuff in baskets. And again, we were just out of town. And so like I have a backpack that has normal stuff in it that I always have, like I always have travel safety scissors. They're child safety scissors, but they're my travel safety.
We haven't done that in a while. That might be something to talk about again.
I know.
We got a lot of comments about the things we have in our bags.
Right. I usually have like melatonin in there and Q-tips and just everyday extra, headphones. And so that I never really unpack. So it's not that hard. I mean, sunglasses.
And it's not that long. So
no, it's a 4-night cruise, and I don't have to worry about the kids. And
I'm not packed for my trip tomorrow. So I mean, I'm behind the game too.
But with cruises, I think the hard part is I like to dress for dinner. And I don't do that in real life very often. And I certainly don't do that on Disney World vacations. And so this is a whole different world of like, and then there are also pictures in different places. And so, what's Matt wearing, and do we look okay? Because on our most recent cruise, we realized we all packed separately. And there were some days where we got some super cute pictures, but it just hurts me to look at all the patterns, like awful, not at all color or pattern coordinated. Like we just did not plan around that. And sometimes you want to get some good pictures that are not matchy, but not super
clashing. Well, there's a pro tip for you as well. I've gotten better about it over the years. I will say, I always used to just be like, whatever, but then you get that good picture and you just,
you
can't see past that.
Right.
This might be as matchy as we were
with
this
orange,
last trip.
Don't go.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's funny. But you're
we
right.
We like patterns. We do. For some reason, even my husband really likes.
You all are. Yeah. You're
right. Pattern colors. And that's fine, except for when they don't go.
For that group photo.
Right. So we need to figure something out there.
So you just have to coordinate 2 people. So much easier.
Yeah. Well, and then in pandemic world, I haven't worn nice shoes
Oh,
in
yeah.
maybe years.
Oh, that's so funny. I just did like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. But I do. I wear, yeah.
I
But
mean,
no, I've
even to
got, I will
work,
say, yeah, right, right.
I don't wear nice shoes. I mean, where I work on a, college campus during the day. And so
Right.
I'm walking a lot. So it's tennis shoes or stuff that's super
Yeah.
comfortable. I haven't worn a pair of heels in a long time.
Yeah.
So
I will say, I used to wear them almost every day. And the pandemic, certainly, I will say, after being in slippers for things like that, I just took out my winter shoes. It's definitely, I cannot wear them all day like I used to. So, yes, that is one thing to think about. So,
yeah, changes your
and
posture.
shoes are always like, yeah, exactly. Well, you'll have to see what you have. Maybe you can go shopping.
Right.
So, I'm sure the
Who has
summer
time to
wear
go
is not
shopping?
out in Minnesota. Yeah, there's no
Right.
time for that either. That's true.
No,
Well, good. Well, if you're
no.
thinking about a Disney cruise, we'll mention it again. I know to me this sounds like literally eons away. 2023 is out there, so early itineraries are available for those days. And like we talk about, if you're thinking about a cruise, book early. That's how you get the best price, best location. All of that is the advantage of booking early, and that is a refundable deposit, so that holds your spot. And either one of us can help you with that as well. Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah.
So not a lot of news, actually. So we don't forget about it because we forgot about it last week too. Not Magic Kingdom, Disney World. One more thing, Candlelight Processional was announced that it is returning, and I don't think we talked about it.
We
Did.
didn't talk
I
about it. We had
apologize.
it on our list. We didn't talk about
And we
it.
just didn't get there.
Yeah. And then today, supposedly, they
Mhm.
released the Candlelight Processional dining packages.
Right.
I don't believe this. I mean, and we've seen this happen with releases before. And so
Right.
I just have the feeling. The reason why I say this is because I was keeping an eye on packages at the times when they were supposed to be released.
Mhm.
Um, in like not just keeping an eye, like refreshing, and looking on several different websites because, I mean, if you're used to booking Disney dining, there are a few different ways to do that and a few different places where dining reservations will show up. I think that they released a few Garden Grill is what they have 4 different restaurant locations that
And this is at
supposedly.
Epcot for anyone who doesn't know. So
Right, right. So the Candlelight Processional is a telling of the Christmas story with music and a celebrity narrator. It's really great. And then the dining packages allow you have a dining reservation, and then you have priority seating for one of the 3 Candlelight Processionals that night. And so normally it's several restaurants are partnering with this, and you have to specifically you have to have a Candlelight Processional package to get the special sticker that lets you, into priority seating for one of the Candlelight Processional shows. Right now, for this year, they've only announced 4 restaurants, which is about half of what is normally announced. So Garden Grill, Coral Reef, Rose and Crown, and Beer Garden. The only one I physically saw with my own eyes was Garden Grill.
and
On
that's what
any
our
of the
other
dates,
agents were. Yeah, no
right?
one was seeing anything either.
Yep. And then on a random group, someone said that they got a Coral Reef as well, but I wasn't seeing any of those at all. And I was specifically also looking for Beer Garden,
Mhm.
and nothing. And I can't find any proof that Beer Garden was released. And so if you're used to looking at Disney dining reservations before they're released, you get a different error message than after
Mhm.
usually. And so right now it's saying that everything is full, but I don't really believe that they're all out there yet.
It couldn't
So I'm going to
be.
continue to keep an eye on things because I really can't believe just in the time and the number of people the number of agents we know that were looking at the same time when everything was
Oh,
released for not a single person to find something,
right,
that there's something
right.
wrong there. I mean, every once in a while, someone will have a glitchy system and then, we'll help each other and people will get, what they need. But for
Right.
not a single person to have found some of this availability is really telling me And just knowing how much time I spent looking at that when it was supposed to have been released, and then when it was showing no availability, makes me think that they're waiting for some reason
Mhm.
to put extra availability out there.
Yeah. So it's very popular. That's why, when the window opened today, everyone was trying to get it because it is an in-demand kind of dining package. Usually the dining packages are very popular and go very quickly. So that's the
Yeah. Well,
advantage of us being up early, trying to hunt those down for you.
and so the American Gardens Theater has had some distancing in it. I didn't honestly look this past trip to see if they had removed some of the distancing markers or if they're still planning on doing that. So I
That's true.
guess, that's a question mark there, but they had removed a lot of the distancing markers in the indoor theaters. And so I'm not sure. American Gardens Theater is an outdoor
Right.
venue. And so I can't believe that would be it. And so then I'm thinking, well, maybe they are reserving more space for walk-up folks, or maybe they're thinking of a super secret special individual lightning lane or something like that, which to me would be odd because it's not set up for that.
Right.
But I wouldn't put anything past them right
now. No, we never know what's happening
right.
in terms of those kind of plans. Yeah.
Right.
So we'll keep an eye on that. So if you're interested or have questions about that, let us know. If you've been to a Candlelight Processional before, let us know in the chat as well. We've attended it, and it's really lovely. It did not happen in 2020.
Right.
So again, there's even more excitement that it is returning this year as well. And when we say celebrity narrators, it's people you would know.
Right.
It truly is. It's a whole gamut, but from a Neil Patrick Harris to, and I think you mentioned some people you had seen. Right. It is people that if we said the name, almost everyone would recognize those names.
Yeah.
So.
I listed off a bunch of the names, and one of them is Pat Sajak, and my kids are like, wait a minute, is that the Wheel of Fortune guy? I'm like, that's the Wheel of Fortune guy.
Yep. Same guy.
Right.
So it's a whole variety of narrators, but it's a really lovely experience and really pretty. I went to them last time was at the Asian trip that we were on. So that was really nice.
Yeah. I've really lucked out because I've seen Neil Patrick Harris. I've seen Whoopi Goldberg.
You have. You've gotten
I've seen who else did we see? Oh, Jonathan Groff. We saw Jonathan Groff. And it's a little bit different with each narrator, but it's still the same music, and it's quintessential. Right. For anyone who, celebrates Christmas or follows, the Christmas story, and for those that's really, part of your holiday celebration, it feels like, it doesn't feel like a church service because it's a performance, but it feels like Christmas.
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe it. It's definitely it's the music and more the atmosphere of it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Who doesn't love a good Hallelujah chorus when you're
that's right.
At
Epcot, even better. Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Not a lot of Universal news.
No, but still some really great discounts to be had. So again, I just want to impress upon anybody who's thinking about Universal, it's worth pricing out a 5-night stay.
Yeah.
I do have someone who's looking at tickets and for January who said, oh, am I understanding this correct? That it's only just a few more dollars to add on like a third day? I'm like, yeah. So Universal, if you're only doing 1 or 2 days, you're pretty much paying, full price. But they have, some offers out where if you've got a third day, that's going to be less expensive. And again, the longer stay is packaged with a room. We've got some great deals going on right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're happy to check those options for you. We always can play around or let you know if you do this is better, or consider, even a hotel stay to get those perks as well. So we're happy to help you with that. But yeah, nothing breaking news with Universal, but they are continuing on. Halloween is still happening.
Right. Oh yeah.
More nights.
Well, and then moving to Aulani, it's the same deal. When they've got discounts, they're 4 or 5 night discounts. So you're not getting a discount on 1, 2, 3 nights, 4 or 5 nights. Yeah. Up to 25% off in some cases. And sometimes they've got other perks too. And so their discounts, Alani's discounts are released January 4th through April 8th right now. So if you're thinking about heading on over to Hawaii,
Mm-hmm. Who wouldn't?
now's a really good time. Well, and it kills me because some flights right now are really still very low.
Mm,
And I know I can't make it to Hawaii until the end of the year next year. So it kind of
right.
hurts because I have the feeling that I'll be, paying over $1,000 per person because that's when things will be more open and everyone's ready to travel to Hawaii again. And,
Right.
that's what it'll be. But there's some
Yeah,
great deals to be had right now.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're thinking about that, know that we can do that. And that's another great Disney experience. So a Disney level of service in Hawaii. So that's great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, do we want to just talk a little bit
Yeah.
about the resorts that we stayed at? And
Yeah. I was going to say,
how
I'm like, I was like, oh gosh, look at the time.
we've got 15 minutes.
Yeah,
And we
so
still have to
I'll talk a
announce our
little.
prize winner too.
I know Jennifer's uploaded some. If you again follow our pages, you'll see some Coronado videos that were uploaded. So Jennifer had not been there, stayed there in a while. I love Coronado. It's hard for me sometimes to say no. Um, I originally was booked with my family to stay at Caribbean Beach, and we had not stayed there before. Skyliner is obviously enticing. We have a lot of families that are interested. So a lot of the times we're staying at these resorts so that we can check them out for you. I know. Taking one for the team. So the last minute, I know, shoot. The last minute I had been stalking because that's both what we do even when we're not traveling. And I was able to move to the Contemporary. So my kids had no idea. We were not able to get into the main building, but we were in the garden buildings that are basically right next to the Contemporary. So for us, it worked out. We're a family of 5, so we had to have a room that slept 5 people. We had a garden view room as well, so we had a little like peekaboo view of Bay Lake. But what was nice about it is we had all the perks of the Contemporary right within a few more steps. And again, as we've talked about, the resorts right now are really quiet in terms of occupancy. We hardly saw anyone. I didn't hear anybody. It was almost strange because what hotel do you stay in and you don't hear anyone?
Right.
But it is just the two, it's just a couple floors. You are facing out. So if you come from Wilderness, I'm visual. This is why I'm using my hands. So if you come from Wilderness Lodge or from Magic Kingdom and you can see the boats going by, those are kind of those outbuildings that are there. The pool was great. Again, we could walk to the Magic Kingdom. So that is why I love the Contemporary as well. And I think I am just so sentimental too. I remember when the Contemporary opened and in 3rd grade, Erica Eldridge and her family got to stay at the Contemporary. That was not recent, everyone. I have booked Erica's family and extended family a few times over the years, but I think of her when I think of the Contemporary. So we're a sentimental family. We always go to Chef Mickey's. We love the monorail, so I surprised the kids. But of course, I have a tween and 2 teens. So when I told them, they were like, "Okay." I was like, "Are you not more excited?" They were once we got there. But again, the Contemporary is considered a deluxe resort. So again, you are paying for the location and the amenities and the perks of all of that. But main building is great. And when we were there, they were still renovating, working almost 24 hours a day, trying to get the rest of the rooms ready. Those are almost ready now. That's the reason it was harder to get into the main building. But you have Bay Lake Tower, the Contemporary, and then you have the garden wing as well. So yeah, garden wing's not for everyone. It's not as updated, but we found the room to be good sized as well. And again, my kids like that we could just walk out and we were, a jag and we're at the pool.
Yeah.
So that worked for us, which was really
well, and it's a really nice location. I mean, for folks who are wanting to spend a lot of time at Magic Kingdom, especially, it's just a great location. And the garden wing rooms, at least now, I mean, I know eventually they'll be undergoing renovation too, and then they might be priced out a little bit higher, but the garden wing view, rooms in the spectrum of deluxe room pricing, are actually pretty reasonable, a lot more reasonable than the main tower or the Polynesian or the Grand
Absolutely.
Floridian, which are the other
Yes.
Magic Kingdom resorts. So,
Hmm.
I feel like they're worth looking into if you are willing to spend, a little bit more
Yeah.
than a moderate for that
Right.
that access. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, sure, you're on the
exactly.
Magic Kingdom monorail, but you can just walk. Why not just walk?
I know. And that was what was so cool, they were that morning. And of course, we were walking over the morning of the 50th. So it was crazy town in some ways. But the fact that it is a short stroll. I mean, it took us longer because we had to cross the street and we were with a lot of people, but you go through security right there and then you're walking right in the park. So I know always clients that have young children or strollers, staying on that monorail loop is another advantage, is that you can just either you're walking or you can stroll into the monorail and be back at your resort really easily. And the first night we were there, my youngest decided we wanted to go. We did not do a park that day because it was our travel day. We got on the monorail and watched the end of Happily. We watched Happily Ever After for the last time on the monorail loop. So that was kind of a cool experience too. So, and he
That's
doesn't love riding
fun.
the monorail. So that was
Well, it is. I mean, it's a ride in and of itself.
It is. It
It
is. And to see,
is.
and that's something we always do is check out all the resorts, and they have such different feels to them as well. Of course, really that different theming. And again, some people have sentimental feelings about some, but again, the garden wing is a great option. We're happy to price that for you too, but just something to consider as well. So yeah, so it
Yeah.
was a good fit.
I
It was a
feel
quick stay, but it was good.
right. I think I feel sentimental about all the resorts because I've got good memories at all of them. So it's
Yeah.
hard not to. Like, I'll get to the
Oh,
contemporary and think, well, but I need to go to the Grand Floridian because I just need to
yeah.
feel the Grand Floridian. Like, I just, because
I
I'm not
know. I
staying
know. We're
there.
that. I think we're both that way. Absolutely. But I
Yeah.
also think, again, we hear that a lot of, oh, should I stay on property? We know that's an investment, but let me tell you, it is just so worth it. Whether that's the accessibility to walk in the morning, whether that is at the end of the day, you're back at your resort, you're not having to drive or deal with any of that. Like we did, we popped over in the afternoon from Hollywood Studios and swam and refreshed and had ice cream and then headed back out and had a great evening. So you can do that certainly and leave the parks, but it's a lot easier when you're staying right there to do that. So,
Yeah. I mean, I like a lot of different hotel chains in general. I
mhm,
think there are some really nice hotel chains out there. I
yeah.
can't do it at Disney. I won't. Like, I used to travel for a living for, a campus recruiting position. Like, I've been in a lot of different hotels. I like
Mhm.
my Hampton Inns. I love my Jurians and Embassy Suites and, budget type places. But that's not Disney. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't, if you're spending all of that money and time to go to Disney World, as far as I'm concerned, there's staying on property and getting that full bubble is part of the experience.
It is. And I just think, I mean, the smell of the lobby or the feeling of it, they all have their own. And so my oldest has got me the Magic Candle Company, different candles from the different resorts, but it really does. I mean, they were like, I was just like, can't you just smell it? Like, just take it in. The Christmas, and again, the contemporary lobby had just reopened for its renovation the week right before we got there. So yeah, there's new things happening at all the resorts. But again, whether you're staying from a value to a moderate to a deluxe villa, there's just something about that whole experience that really can make your trip. I do agree
Yeah.
fully.
And I mean, I have to admit that I feel a little bit different about Disneyland than Disney
Yes.
World. I mean, well, of course, I mean, Disneyland resorts are
Mm,
awesome. I
they
mean,
are
they're
so,
awesome.
yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm missing as much there if I'm
No,
staying across the street, but
right.
in a hotel, but I can stay
So
in those
different.
types of hotels
Right.
anywhere, and
Yeah.
so I almost feel like I can't get the Grand Californian if I'm staying somewhere else. I can't get
Right.
Paradise Pier or Disneyland Hotel,
Hmm.
so I want to stay in those places, but if I'm really on a budget at Disneyland, I don't feel as bad,
Hmm.
maybe staying off property but being totally adjacent. But I do at Disney World. I can't be out of the bubble there. It's just too big.
It is. It's just too big. It just doesn't, I mean, that's just the way it
Right.
is. So again, you don't want to be spending your time getting to the park or parking and doing all of that. And obviously, you've seen the parking lots. Most people do that. But if you can avoid that, or right now with trams not running and things like that, it definitely adds another step to it. But lots of options again, and lots of price points. So it covers it. So again, if you're thinking about a Disney World trip, planning further out is to your advantage as well. So there's more inventory to look at, and we can help guide you through that process.
Yeah. And if you're planning Disneyland, planning further out as well, especially if you're looking for a good neighbor hotel that's going to be really close to the parks.
Yes.
Because those book up, if you want a room and ticket package and having some of the protections of just being able to book that through Disneyland, having a refundable deposit, it's a good idea to book further out if you're looking for the most affordable rates, because those go first. And they do at Disney World too.
But Disneyland,
but especially Disneyland. Yeah.
Right. Just because of the proximity. And I know sometimes we're like, what do you mean you can walk there in 10 minutes? You can, because you're in the city. So a very different feel, but again, popular, and those do go. And we're seeing that as we're trying to look for clients. So the options are more limited. So sometimes that's a good thing, but we like to give you as many as we can for you to choose from.
Yeah. And so I mean, for Coronado, I will say, I said it before, we loved every minute of it. It's an awesome resort. It's, the family loved it. There's something for everyone there. And so I've got, a full walkthrough tour of the resort. I also have just different videos of room tours. So I've got a standard room tour and a tower room tour. And so everything there is on our Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears YouTube channel under the resort, Disney World Resort Tours. And so take a look at those and get a feel yourself. I know I like to see. I love YouTube videos. I love YouTube videos.
They help. And we're grateful that, there were a lot of videos that existed before Jennifer, and we started, offering that to you too, because I think it does help you get a feel. You can read a description, you can see a picture, but to really see a room or have us describe that. So I have a client that just chose Tower because they saw our video. So they loved Coronado, but said, all right, it's just, a couple going, no kids. They said, put us in the Tower. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
It's a great location.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Oh, yeah. I would just head on up for the Dahlia Lounge and have a couple of drinks and oversee the fireworks. I mean, right.
Well, and I think the Tower, especially, it has that deluxe feel to it. It just does. It's just that, and that's, again, I think there's that misconception that every Disney resort is full Mickey Mouse themed, like kid or character, and that's not the case. So there's so many different feels. It really depends what you're looking for, and so many options as well. So,
well, and I love how subtle it is, because there was so much that we walked past and we're like, wait, there's a hidden Mickey, because we had a conversation saying, is there very much Disney in here at all? And I was like, oh my gosh, this trivet is a Mickey Mouse in the door. Like,
you have good eyes for that.
The rest of them are not, except for this one right here. Or, the lattice work has, hidden Mickeys in it or something, but it's still just very tasteful. And so you don't notice it in a lot of cases unless you're looking for it too.
Right. It's true. But Coronado's one of my moderate go-tos for sure.
Well, and it does. And it's got it's got a range of price points. And so the standard rooms are just a few dollars more than, some of the value resort. Just a few dollars more than, for sure, a Little Mermaid room in some cases.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
I love Little Mermaid rooms. There's a place for the value. I love Pop Century. I don't know. For some reason, I love Pop Century. I think it's all the great memories we've had there. I always go back. It's my personal value go-to. But when I look at the prices, I'm like, oh, but I love moderate. I love having that extra. The pools and the feel of it is just a little bit more.
The room, the size of the room.
Right. Yeah. The room's bigger. But they do such a great job with storage in all the rooms now that I can't complain. It's not as
big of an issue as it used to be.
Right.
We're creeping up on an hour. Should we announce our
Yes, we should. So like I said, we kept a list of everybody who either commented who created a post either on the Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Facebook group or on our YouTube channel. And then we used a random number generator to pick the person on the list. And so the name that popped up is Crystal Hunter.
Yay,
and so Crystal, if you're watching, we'll
you let us
also
know.
post this in the
Otherwise,
group, right?
in
Yeah.
touch with you. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll post this in the Facebook group as well. And then you can let us know what type of gift card you'd like. And we'll send you a $25 electronic $25 gift card to your location of choice.
Yeah, just for interacting and commenting. So thank you. So we'll do this again in November as well. So again, that's watching these, commenting. Again, it doesn't have to be when we're live, commenting, chatting, dropping comments or pictures or questions in the group. Again, that's why we created it. We're chiming in, but we love what all of you share as well. So
yeah, it's so helpful to see and see what questions you have and interact from each other, because of course we have all of our own personal experiences, but we can't pretend to speak for other people. And so just knowing what everyone else is thinking and what they're experiencing, helps me give advice to folks when I'm, chatting with them too. So I love to know what people are thinking, because of course I have my own personal views on what I love and what I don't, but I what I say isn't always the best for everybody else. So we want to make sure that we've got all the different perspectives represented as well.
Right. Absolutely. Well, good. It was a quick hour. My word. Yeah. Flies by.
Right.
When we're talking about things we love.
Like the whole month.
So true.
Like the whole month. It disappears.
So if you celebrate Halloween, have a fun Halloween. If you have any Disney or Universal themed pumpkins or decorations or kiddos, or maybe you dressed up for those Halloween parties this year, definitely share those in our group. We love seeing that as well.
Yeah, and also when you go on trips, share some of those pictures with us too. The group it's a closed group. And so if there are things that you want to share in the group, but not necessarily on your personal page, I mean, you can do that as long as you know who maybe from your personal page might be in the group. So just something to keep in mind, because I know some folks don't like to advertise necessarily to all their coworkers or whoever where they are and what they're doing, but that, it's comfortable to do that in the group. So feel free to, post. I love trip pictures. I love to see what you think. I mean, magic shots, everything makes me just kind of smile and, lets me live vicariously through you too.
Yeah.
So,
and don't we all need that right now too? It's
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So yeah. So please, post all of it. We love to see it. And again, thank you so much for interacting. Thanks for so much for being part of our community. Again, if you are new to, watching this YouTube Tuesday night chat, please hit the like button. If you share with friends and family, that would be awesome. And then come on over to the Wizarding Wands Mickey Ears Facebook group, chat there. We are also on Instagram and TikTok from time to time, not as much. There's only so much that you can do.
We can do, right?
Yeah. And in the few hours that we seem to have in a day. And then of course, if you're looking to plan a trip to Disney or Universal, please feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to help you. So thanks again for watching, for participating, and until next time, enjoy the journey.
Bye.
Congratulations, Crystal.